Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist BBQ. I'm Erica Yoder, and today we're talking wet-aged brisket. This is a competition trick that I learned from a buddy of mine, and I'm gonna try it out today and see, does wet aging improve your brisket? Is it something you should be doing at home? I have two briskets on the table here. It's a chud table, by the way, so thanks, Brad. First, I have a Creekstone Choice brisket that I got yesterday. And then right here, I have a Creekstone Choice brisket that I got 40 days ago. I've been told that the sweet spot for wet aging is 40 days. I have no idea what this is gonna smell like. So regardless of what happens, I'm gonna open this up. I will cook it. Depending on what it smells like, I may or may not eat it. So I'm gonna trim these up the same way, season them the same way, and put them right next to each other on the TMG volunteer behind me. We're gonna find out if this is a huge waste of time or if it's a way that you can cook better food in your backyard. Smells a little bit funky, but nothing crazy. Doesn't smell rotten or anything. The texture of the meat does feel different. My initial impression, it's been in the fridge for 40 days. I was kind of worried about it. I've tried some dried stuff that smelled and tasted kind of rotten. It doesn't have that smell at all, so I have high hopes for this. Then I'm going to put on a couple blocking logs just to protect that first surface that comes into contact with the heat and smoke. And now we're cooking. We're going to start at about 200 to 225 for the first couple of hours, and then gradually, by the time we hit the stall, we want to be 275, and hopefully we've rendered fat really well. Black pepper. Never get used to it. These have been on for about 8 hours at this point, so we should have some good color. The wood has been greener than I would like it to be, so we've kind of been struggling, going a little slower than I would like. But let's take a look and see what we got. Okay, so we have good color on those briskets, and the fat's still not quite rendered enough, partially because we haven't been able to get the high temperatures necessary to render it. So I'm thinking probably about another 90 minutes, but running at 275 to really make sure we render that fat. Then it'll be ready to wrap. I'm gonna do the same thing I always do. Butcher paper, 2 sheets, 18 inches wide, throw in some Wagyu towel, wrap them up, finish them off, and then we're gonna taste test them tomorrow. But we're gonna show you the wrapping and then the resting. Okay guys, so when I'm doing these long cooks, I'm not waiting 16 hours to eat. I'm eating other stuff. And when I'm not cooking something on the smokers, I'm using made-in cookware 99.9% of the time. If I'm cooking eggs, I'm using their non-stick pan. If I'm sauteing something, I'm probably using their stainless steel pan. If I'm searing a steak, I'm using some of their carbon steel. And if you're kind of confused about carbon steel or you're not sure about it, let me tell you a little bit of a story. So the contractor who did a lot of the work around the house here, fixed stuff up inside and built the grill Zebo outside, he was big into using cast iron. He uses it for everything, loves cast iron, seasons it, all that stuff. And I said, well, why don't you try this carbon steel pan? He said, I guess I'll try it. Well, that was 6 months ago. He has not offered to give it back. And I think that's kind of an endorsement of the quality of carbon steel. Everything you love about cast iron, but more ergonomic and lighter weight. So it's just a superior way to do cooking. So I'm gonna be using this carbon steel griddle to cook some steaks. It's a 2-burner griddle, and I have this cooktop right here next to this cutting board. While I wait for barbecue to happen, I can be cooking steaks and eating like a king, and I don't have to wait 16 hours to do it. The made-in griddle is made from carbon steel, like I said, so all the benefits of using cast iron, but lighter weight and more convenient. It can also deal with up to 1200 degrees Fahrenheit, so you can get this thing absolutely ripping hot if you want to, and it's gonna be able to survive that task. And then 2 big features about this thing that I love. The first is its size. Unlike a pan where you can fit a few steaks in there, this thing is big, so you can fit probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steaks in there, no problem. Also, because it fits over 2 burners, you have twice as much heat going to the surface. So instead of sucking all the heat out by overfilling a pan, you can use this griddle and you get the benefits of cooking with carbon steel, and you get to cook a lot at the same time. And then finally, the last feature I want to talk to you about is this raised edge, so you can cook in something like beef tallow and you don't have to worry about it running off and running into the burner. So for me, this is my absolute favorite way to cook a steak. It comes with a cover. It comes with a burger press if you want to do burgers, smash burgers on here. And if you guys can't tell, I love Made In's products. That's why I'm happy to say that they're sponsoring today's video. I want to thank them for that. If you're interested in this griddle, check out the griddle and other Made In cookware by using the link in my description to save today. All right, it's time to wrap these up. So first, we're gonna throw some tallow down on this paper. Time for the forbidden frosting. Shout out Lord Saunders. But yeah, we'll throw some of this down. Okay, here we have our wet aged brisket. It's looking good. That's not quite as rendered as I would love, but it's okay. Once. Still learning the chud table. Got a wrap from this side. Here is our regular brisket. Again, fat's not quite as rendered as I want, but it will be okay. All right, that's it. These two are done. We wrapped it about 10 hours in. The total cook was about 12 hours. And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but we did the entire cook with oak. So these have rested out here just on this cutting board. And now I'm gonna put them in the warmer because one thing you cannot overlook when doing barbecue is letting the meat rest for a consistent long period of time, usually overnight, so that you can eat the next day. So it's a matter of convenience, but also in terms of the quality of the meat, this is definitely an improvement. So I got my awesome Chinese made warmer that I'm gonna be using. So I'm gonna put these in an aluminum pan, put them in there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's just holding it at a 40 degrees and it's food safe. I think the cook went pretty well. The color was nice. The fat render wasn't quite where I wanted it to, but kind of had to wrap because we reached a point of diminishing returns. So I think they're going to be good. It's not a perfect cook, but kind of dealing with wet wood, and that's just the way life goes. You know, it's done when it's done, and it's going to be whatever it's going to be when we're finished with it. So hopefully in the morning we'll have some good brisket to try. The flats went to about 209 before they felt tender. The points went to about 202. So we'll see. I have a feeling those points might have been slightly overcooked, but I'll see you guys in the morning. It's the next day, the briskets are in the warmer. I'm gonna pull them out, slice them up, and we're gonna do a blind taste test. Because in the last video where I did kind of an A-B brisket comparison, people were saying, it's gotta be a blind taste test, otherwise it doesn't count. So we have some people here who are gonna taste it and not know what the difference is, even though you as the audience members will know. So I'm gonna get each one of these out, I'll slice it up, we'll put it in the text above what we're slicing so you know as we slice it. But we can't really talk about it now or else we kind of give away all the secrets before the blind taste test takes place. So we're going to slice those up, we're going to do some taste testing, and we're going to see how big of a difference this process makes. For the blind taste test, what I'm going to do, we have two taste testers. I'm going to give them each a slice of lean from both briskets, and then I'm going to give them a burn end so they kind of get both extremes in terms of the spectrum, and they're going to let us know what the differences are, if any, between these two briskets. All right, our two taste testers, they know that they're doing brisket samples, but they don't know what's different about these at all. This is Todd. He's kind of our contractor, did everything around the house, so built the barbecue structure that I like to call the Grill Zebo. And this is his daughter, Kendall. And so they both had my regular brisket before. And today they're going to be our blind taste testers, and they're going to let us know what their thoughts are. So there's not a right or a wrong answer. It's simply, what do you think? So these samples on the right come from the brisket on the right. The samples on the left come from the brisket on the left. You have one slice of lean and one burn end from each brisket. And so just whatever you think, you can say you hate it, you love it, whatever. You're not going to hurt my feelings. The only rule is be honest with what you think. And if you can't tell the difference, that's totally fine too.
Deal.
Cool. Why don't you guys start with lean slice that is on your right.
Ooh, that's
the lean slice on your right. You don't have to eat the whole sample either.
It's not. Yeah,
it's already gone.
Right.
I'm not usually a fat person, but this fat's good.
Yes, I did the exact
That is the greatest compliment you could ever pay to somebody who barbecues. Like, I don't usually like that, but this fat is good.
Well, I did that. I actually pulled it and then went, that's got. If he seasoned it, and that's what maybe what I'm going after is he seasoned something special. I'm trying it, and it's actually really good. Yeah.
Okay.
It tastes very similar to the brisket I've had before of yours.
Okay.
So I'm not thrown for a loop yet.
Why don't you compare that to the slice of flat that is on your left?
This one's got a little more pull to it.
I like the fat on this one more.
I hate to say it, but I think you're right. This one may be a little peppery more.
Yeah, I was gonna say the seasoning's different.
Yeah, the first piece was exactly like, or very close to what I had of your brisket before. This one's a little different, and the only thing I'm getting is pepper.
So if you had to choose between the first one and the second one?
The second one.
For me, whichever one was closest. I think they're that close.
Okay.
But flavor profile, the second one.
The second one, okay.
Which is actually A.
So let's do the burn ends. Let's start with the one on your right.
That's B.
So we'll go in the same order.
Oh, that's like...
What's your strategy? Are you going all the way? Or just
no, I'm
taking
going to rip it in half so I get 2 bites. It's like butter. Oh my God, that's crazy juicy. Crazy juicy?
Yeah, that's really good.
The bark is absolutely ridiculous. But that one's got a different flavor even than the first piece. Maybe it's more fat in it.
Definitely more fat in it.
Yes.
I'm happy.
Now, the sample on your left, the last piece of meat in front of you.
Burnt end A. They are so close.
The second one is juicier.
Absolutely, that one tastes better, but I think it is what it is. A tastes better. So, and I don't know if it's a spice thing or the way you cooked it thing, but there's something a little more. And it's not heat, but it's a peppery something in that one. Oh, but I'm eating the rest of it.
Yeah, you can do it.
Give me one.
Whoa.
So,
Difference.
This is the difference, okay? That is a pretty much regular brisket for me. That brisket right there was wet aged for 40 days in the fridge before it ever got cooked. So just in the vacuum seal, you leave it in the fridge, you wait 40 days, you take it out of the package, do everything like normal, but it's just been wet aging rather than dry aging.
So I've heard of that. Does that do something to flavor profile that you know of as the scientist?
Well, there are a couple things that it definitely does allow. So that extended period of aging allows enzymes to kind of break down kind of connective tissues
Like
in the
you
meat.
said,
It's
it
a little
was
bit more tender.
juicy, yeah.
But there are also, presumably, I don't know all the intricate details about it, but people say that it produces more flavor compounds and the beef tastes beefier than just you take it out of the fridge the day after you bought it and put it on the smoker. So these are both Creekstone Choice briskets. Got them from the same supplier. They were about the same size, cooked the exact same way, right next to each other on the same smoker with the same wood. Everything's identical as much as possible, except one is 40-day wet aged. And you guys both chose the wet aged brisket.
So now we buy brisket a month before the parties.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I forgot. I guarantee you what happened was there was a guy who got drunk one night and he found a brisket he forgot about and went out and cooked it and was like, this is even better than before. You know? So he's like, I'm going to start doing this.
Well, again, that's kind of the reason we're here, and we just not proved it, but added to the myth, I guess, because without question, if given the choice, unless that one was really close and that one was far away, they're really close, but that was a better brisket.
Okay.
And I thought it was peppery, but maybe that's what you're saying, beefier.
I don't know, I haven't tasted it yet.
Oh,
So.
well then let's get out of the way and let
To
him.
me,
I'll
the
try it.
flat, when I tasted the flats,
Yeah.
that one was more sour, but in a good way. It
Yeah.
wasn't bad sour. But then when I tasted the point, it was almost sweeter. It just had more flavor.
They were different.
Yeah. Okay, so we had our blind taste testers give their opinions. Erica behind the camera also noticed a difference and said this one was better. So now any kind of bias that might be favoring this one, you guys know about. I'm gonna taste them both. I'll start with just a chunk of flat, and then I'll do, if there's any burnt end left, I'll try that too. So, regular brisket. This is pretty good, a B plus, A minus effort. It needs more seasoning though, totally fine. Now let me try this wet aged brisket here. Oh, there is a difference in the flavor of the meat itself. The texture is slightly different. It's not mealy, but just, it could be something to do with the aging process, you know, softening up, something to do with the muscle fibers. I don't know. It just seems more tender. Let me try some of the point on each one, and we'll find out here. Regular burnt end. Yeah, it's fine. Not really outstanding. Also a little under seasoned, I think. Smoke flavors there. It's juicy. I would say it's good, but not remarkable in any particular way. So let's try this guy out. Here we go. That's so weird. There is almost a sweetness to it. And there's basically no sugar in the rub that I used. I mean, I think there's a tiny amount, but it's actually the meat itself that tastes sweet, which I don't think I've ever really experienced before. Now, there's some things that restaurants do that people in their backyards don't do, and vice versa. Because restaurants are doing everything at scale, people in their backyard are probably doing 1 or 2 briskets at a time. This is one of those things that a restaurant couldn't do. So Terry Black's, if they're cooking, you know, 300 briskets a day, they can't be holding on to briskets for 40 days because that would be what, 12,000 briskets? Yeah, they don't have space to just hold on to 12,000 briskets and, you know, pull out 300 every day. So in terms of feasibility, if you're a restaurant, probably not gonna work. But if you just have one brisket that you wet age in your fridge for a day, that really seems like it's, I think I'm gonna have to try it again just to be certain, but it really seems like it just is a better product. The meat is sweeter, the fat has its own taste, where it's not just, you know, a lubrication in each bite, but it actually provides something desirable in terms of flavor profile. This fat kind of melts when you take a bite and you chew it up, and it just becomes just kind of a coating around everything and keeps it moist. But I think there's definitely something to this. So I was thinking about doing this video for a while. I thought, you know, I've done dry aged brisket before. I didn't really like it. I don't like it. I could try wet aged because I've had wet aged steaks before and I really like them. And I was talking to Fast Eddie, so shout out Fast Eddie, and he said that when he was doing the barbecue competition circuit, he always wet aged his briskets. And he said the perfect number of days is 40. Beyond that, you start to diminish in quality, and it's improving up until that point. So we did 40 days on this, and I'm really actually surprised by the results. I didn't think there would be much of a difference at all, but for blind taste testers, there was a difference. For me, I tasted it, there's a difference. For Erica behind the camera, who tastes pretty much everything I make, there was a difference. So I think there really is something to this. And you have a new tool in your tool belt if you really want to blow people away with the quality of food that you're making. So the effort behind this is virtually zero. All you have to do is don't touch it, leave it in the fridge. And then you cook it exactly like the way you normally would, and you get a better product.
Get them all.
Hey, Daddy,
Taking them all.
Daddy.
Okay.
Hey, Daddy, you want a brisket?
You want brisket?
Yeah, brisket.
Okay. Here we go. You can try this one. Is that good?
No.
Do you like it? Okay, let me try this one. Want to taste it? You like it? Which one do you like better? You like this one? Or you like this one?
That one.
Everybody chooses that one. You like that one?
That one.
Okay, surprising. All right, thank you, Emma.
Daddy, let's go see.
All right, after we cut off the blind taste test and then I came up and tasted it, We kind of all sat around. There were probably 6, 7 of us just kind of eating and talking. And it was actually universally recognized that the wet aged brisket was better. Everybody agreed. I mean, we did back and forth, tasting back and forth, and it just was simply superior. So I'm definitely going to try this again, but I think I'm pretty convinced that it produces a better product. So if that information is helpful to you, then this video has been a success. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Mad Scientist BBQ. I'll see you guys next time.
So, wait, is this... Should Ken look at the same one?
Yes.
Sorry.
Are we good? We're gonna try it now?
Yeah, go for it.
Wow.
If we go through a drive-through, guaranteed 100% before we're out of the parking lot, Erica's already eating fries or something.
Oh, you always have to eat the fries on the way home. That's why you get the fries. Specifically, Chick-fil-A fries are meant to be eaten on the way home.
Yeah. That's right.
There's
Erica definitely follows that rule. If you enjoyed the hit, ready?